On the news tonight, President Buhari meets Emir of Qatar, restates Nigeria's commitments to enhance economic relations with other least developed countries. INEC presents certificates of return to senators-elect.
To assure you of better assembly, better legislation, new idea, new bills and law to protect the life and property of our own people.
Plus, National Broadcasting Commission to sanction erring broadcaster that exploits the peace of the nation.
Finding the embers of discord, disunity, inciting supporters through conveyance of subversive messages through broadcasting are not traits that can deepen our democratic culture.
Hello and a warm welcome to NTA Network News at 9. I'm Henry John and we're live in Abuja. Adiola Komiokere joins me from Lagos. Thank you for joining us. We'll begin from Doha tonight as issues relating to Nigeria and the state of Qatar are doing a lot more together towards enhancing economic cooperation as well as investment opportunities of mutual benefits came to the fore on the margins of the UN Conference on Least Developed Countries in Doha. This was at a high-level engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and Sheikh Hamad bin Mohammed Al Thani. State House correspondent Adam Musambo has the details.
The meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari and Sheikh Hamad Al Thani was a follow-up to the high-level talks held during the President's visit to Qatar in 2016, as well as the Qatari monarch's reciprocal visit to Nigeria in 2019. Already signed to deepen relations between the two countries were two agreements on the avoidance of double taxation and the prevention of fiscal evasion with respect to tax income, as well as that of bilateral air services aimed at standardizing the mode of aviation business and increasing flight frequencies and destinations. This meeting with the father of the reigning monarch, described as an architect of the state's modern revival who ruled Qatar between 1995 to 2013, is an opportunity for President Muhammadu Buhari to seek ways of deepening, expanding and sustaining the highly beneficial relations between the two countries even after his tenure.
Qatar is a very promising country with lots of resources in terms of oil and gas, and of course they have been now at the center of the world, attracting all kinds of businesses and activities towards their country. They just hosted the World Cup 2022 and so on, so they are coming increasingly and very aggressive in bilateral relationships and diplomatic relationships. So in furtherance of all of that, there had been a long-standing relationship between Nigeria and Qatar, but more importantly also between the president himself and the dynasty here. I remember when we came in 2016, President Muhammadu Buhari paid a visit here where there were talks about investments in agriculture, in oil and gas, in education, in healthcare. And I think that has been going on the roadmap. So I think this will further, the takeaway here is that the visit has further strengthened the relationship.
Qatari companies are major partners in the oil and gas business, particularly in the areas of gas development. We're partnering with them on many platforms, and we believe that this visit will continue to support us in solidifying those relationships.
What areas?
In development of gas, which is a major focus of our country, and we're leveraging on the relationship to do this.
We have very excellent relationship between Nigeria and State of Qatar, and we are working on various agreements that facilitate the Nigerian and the Qataris to work together and to have more investment in Nigeria.
So what do you have to see as a result of this visit by the President?
Yeah, it's a higher level visit, and we are looking forward for a state visit also where the various agreements are going to be signed.
President Muhammadu Buhari also granted audience to his counterpart from Guinea-Bissau and chairman of ECOWAS, Umaru Sissoco Embalo. Details of their discussions held behind closed doors were not disclosed. From Doha, State of Qatar, Adam Musambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari says Nigeria will sustain leadership in combating climate change in sub-Saharan Africa, focusing on government approach and private sector participation to mainstream climate action. The president was addressing a high-level thematic roundtable on climate change at the 5th United Nations Conference on Least Developed Countries in Doha, Qatar. Onengiye Fineface reports.
The high-level thematic roundtable focuses on consensus building to renew and reinvigorate partnerships and mobilize additional international support measures and actions in support of least developed countries to enhance their resilience to multiple shocks and accelerate the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. This roundtable seeks to address climate change and support the environment, especially in least developed countries. Represented by the Minister of Environment, Mohammed Abdullahi, President Buhari says Nigeria is providing leadership in climate action with the Climate Change Act, headship of the Pan-African Agency for the Great Green Wall, and through the mobilization of resources to actualize the objectives of the Sahel Region Climate Commission by hosting the Sahel Climate Fund.
This pragmatic approach should resonate with LDCs and developing countries to initiate and adopt effective homegrown resource mobilization supported by a well-developed action plan. Domestic resource mobilization is likely to break the yoke of difficulties in accessing funds from developed countries' financial institutions, like Nigeria's issuance of 2 sovereign green bonds that raised over 30 billion naira. LDCs and developing countries must take serious stand on Commons monetary solutions on a new funding mechanism that is flexible, accessible, and utilizable.
The 5th United Nations Conference on the Least Developed Countries is a once-in-a-decade opportunity to accelerate sustainable development in the places where international assistance is needed the most and to tap the full potential of the least developed countries, helping them make progress on the road to prosperity. Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
And as President Muhammadu Buhari prepares to leave office upon the conclusion of his 2-term tenure, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, says it has made arrangements to honor the president with an award of recognition of his achievements in the defense and promotion of democracy as a system of government in the sub-region. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the ECOWAS chairman, Guinea-Bissau, Umaru Sissoco Embalo, said this at a bilateral meeting with President Buhari on the sidelines at the ongoing 5th United Nations Conference on Least Developed Countries in Doha, Qatar. President Embalo said the president has done a lot to support democratic governments in West Africa. He also recognized his efforts in waging battles against the emergence of non-democratic regimes. President Buhari welcomed the proposition, stressing that democracy is the best pathway to bringing together diverse people and a dependable vehicle for the achievement of national development. And back home, senators-elect for the February 25th, 2023 National Assembly election have been presented with certificates of return by INEC. Mie Ogidi reports.
Pre-election anxiety gives way to post-election celebration. Returning senators congratulating themselves for a victorious contest, while first-timers admitted with warm handshake by their ranking colleagues. On geopolitical basis, the senators-elect filed past, receiving their certificates of return with great promises.
And to reassure you of better assembly, better legislation, new idea, new bills and law to protect the life and property of our own people, to check the executive arms of government for checks and balances.
The 9th Senate will try to change the time frame of the budgetary period, and that can only be achieved if there's a harmonious relationship between the executive and the legislative arm.
Infrastructure for the masses. We have some infrastructure for the elites and the areas where everybody sees, but where the bulk of Abuja people live, there's a lot to be done. So those are the things that I'm coming with.
For 2.5 hours that the program lasted, INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu was just looking on, no speech from him. Wednesday, 8th of March 2023 is the turn for members-elect of the House of Representatives for their certificates of return. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
The 2023 National Assembly election produced different shades of surprises, from increased turnover to the expansion of party composition. But the All Progressives Congress was undeterred as it retained majority status. Ignatius Nkwo takes a look at the composition of the 10th Senate.
On the 11th of June 2023, the 9th Senate is expected to pack its bag and move into the annals of history. Already, the election of 25th February 2023 has produced the next occupants of the Red Chamber. Going into the 2022 elections, the All Progressives Congress, which has been in the majority since 2015, lost some of its members and closed its balance sheet at 62 members. But in the result, released so far by the Independent National Electoral Commission, the All Progressives Congress still holds the majority seat at 57, a reduction of their numbers in the 9th Senate by 5. PDP, the largest of the opposition parties, reduced from 39 to 29. Labour Party increased from only 1 member to 6, while the NNPP has 2, losing one of its seats. Social Democratic Party 2 members, ABGA and YPP, retained their 1-member status. Parliamentary resolutions are reached through voting. Therefore, numerical strength remains a factor. With the spread of membership in the Senate, it is expected that the election of presiding officers in the 10th Senate will witness serious horse trading and bargaining.
There are likely going to be also coalition of these new political parties to align with one of the major political parties in the legislature.
High turnover has continued in the National Assembly. For instance, out of the 109 senators in the 9th Assembly, only 30 will be returning, with 3 women against 6 in the 9th Senate. Out of the 5 principal officers on this majority seat, only 1 will be returning here in the next 3 months. Same with the minority seat, only the deputy minority leader will be returning.
So when we have new members, it means the system, the quality of output will be lower.
Some former governors that will not be returning include Theodore Oji of Abia State, Umaru Tanko Almakura, Nasarawa, Rochas Okorocha Imo, Ibikunle Amosun Ogun, Gabriel Suswam Benue, and Sam Egu of Ebonyi State. The statistics of the 10th Senate will be devoid of the usual high number of immediate past governors, as most of them lost their bid. They include Samuel Otom of Benue, Ifeanyi Ugwanyo of Enugu, Ben Ayade, Cross River, Simon Lalong Plateau, Deros Ishaku of Taraba, Okezie Bazu Abia, and Abubakar Bagudu of Kebbi State, while Dave Umahi of Ebonyi, Sani Bello, Niger, and the immediate past governor of Edo State, Adams Oshomole, all of the APC, won their election into the Senate.
So many states had issues. States that were able to do meaningful reconciliation, the sitting governors were able to win their election.
As at now, elections into 11 seats are still inconclusive. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And we're from the National Assembly now. The All Progressives Congress North-South Progressives Alliance has called on those aggrieved with the outcome of the presidential election to take their grievances to court. The group, however, appealed to political actors to allow public interest override their individual ambition. Salihu Gwanara brings us details.
North-South Progressives Alliance is a political support group that is promoting brotherhood among Nigerians. The group acknowledged the political arrangement by the APC that allowed rotation of power to the South and the support Nigerians give to the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
We frown at attempts by some overzealous opposition elements to delegitimize Asiwaju Tinubu's victory by inciting the public and international media through exaggerated reports of hitches during the election or through acts of sponsored civil disobedience.
We will give you total commitment and support to deliver on the renewed hope agenda.
We do not want to start defending not just the government, but defending ourselves against our government in the incoming administration. We therefore ask that they go into that place with people that can be trusted, with hands that are capable. Thank you.
Meanwhile, Coalition of Civil Society for Tinubu and Shetima say the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president-elect is divine. The group expressed hope that the renewed hope mandate will in no distant time positively turn around the human and material resources for national development. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Similarly, supporters of the All Progressives Congress have commended the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for conducting what they described as transparent presidential election that produced Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president-elect. In view of this, a solidarity rally in defense of the nation's democracy was held in Abuja. Salihu Gwanara reports.
Save Our Democracy group is on the streets of Abuja in support of the process and mandate given to Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress as the president-elect. The group, through their messages, preach peace, love for democracy, and support to a peaceful civil transition.
INEC, under the leadership of Professor Mahmoud, has given us a credible election in the history of this country. We are here to further consolidate and defend the mandate freely given to Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu.
While they come to INEC to say that elections are not credible, their members are in INEC receiving certificate of return, both from members of House of Reps and Senate today.
There's no ringing in this election. What of Lagos? If they are complaining, if we have any chance to ring, we could have ring Lagos. So that is his Jagaban place. He does not complain, he does not fight anybody.
Deputy Director Security Services at INEC headquarters, Ndidi Okafo, received the group on behalf of the commission.
I want to thank you on behalf of the commission and to say that we will convey your message to the appropriate quarters.
Members have been encouraged to be peaceful in their conduct as the nation prepares for governorship and state assembly elections. They, however, urged those who are aggrieved with the outcome of the presidential election to follow the rule of law and avoid conduct contrary to public peace. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
This is NTA Network News. Time for a break. Please stay. Welcome back. The Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, under the leadership of its President General and Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, on behalf of the entire Muslim Ummah in Nigeria, congratulates Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu on his resounding victory during the presidential election. The council is also grateful to the Almighty Allah for the victory, which is a clear manifestation of his immense favors on the president-elect. While attesting to his decades of hard work, sacrifice, and dedication to the Nigerian project, the council is confident that he will bring to bear his wealth of experience in assembling an all-inclusive team of experts in the administration of our country in a way that would foster unity, peace, and engender sustainable development. Now, the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja will this Wednesday consider the merits of the application of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, seeking the order of the court to reconfigure the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS. The Labour Party and its candidate, Peter Obi, filed a fresh application to be allowed to conduct a physical inspection of all the BVAS that was used for the presidential poll. INEC is in the appellate court to seek its order to reconfigure its BVAS in readiness for the conduct of the governorship and House of Assembly elections. The court had earlier granted interim applications of the PDP and its candidate Atiku Abubakar, LP, and its candidate Peter Obi to inspect the materials used for the presidential polls. Meanwhile, Nigeria's president-elect Bola Tinubu is seeking an order from the Court of Appeal to assess sensitive materials used by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for the conduct of the presidential election. Tinubu, candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, was declared the winner of the poll ahead of Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party and Peter Obi, candidate of the Labour Party. The president-elect, through his counsel, Akintola Makinde, said he would need to inspect, scan and make photocopies of some of the electoral materials to enable him to prepare his defense against petitions that would seek to nullify his election. He said the materials would be relevant in helping the defense legal team to prepare its defense and also make comparison with the information contained in INEC's back-end server. And away from the courtroom now, the Labour Party chairman in River State, Denye Pepple, in agreement with the 23 local government chairmen of the party, has declared the adoption of the PDP governorship candidate, Similaye Fubara, as the preferred candidate for the March 11 governorship election in the state. Ogedi Onyekwere reports that he made their decision known while briefing journalists in Port Harcourt.
According to the Rivers State chairman of Labour Party, Bienye People, the decision to adopt the PDP governorship candidate in the state stems from claims by an unknown person to the Labour Party governorship ticket who allege that the supposed authentic candidate has stepped down and adopted the APC governorship candidate. They said in order not to remain in the dark, they have decided to support a candidate who is young and vibrant and comes from a senatorial district yet to produce a governor in the state.
We urge all Labour Party members, supporters, and our obedient team to come out their numbers on Saturday, 11th of March 2023 to vote Sir Similaye Joseph Fubara from the Southeast Senatorial District of Rivers State for governor.
He says their action demonstrates that Labour Party and its members are defenders and ambassadors of the value that has set it apart from other political parties. Intend that Labour Party considers their decision fundamental to the stability, growth and progress of the state and by extension the country. In Port Harcourt, Ogedi Onyekwere, NTA News.
In other news, the National Orientation Agency, NOA, has urged media organizations to continue to propagate positive messages that will douse tension and promote love and unity in the country. Kenneth Nanim reports that the agency and its partners at a breakfast meeting in Abuja engaged media executives on the need for more advocacy on peace through responsible journalism.
The elections at the national level have come and gone, but the aftermath of the process is generating concerns from both the winners and the losers. The National Orientation Agency and partners are urging the media to adequately scrutinize the content of their messages, especially as the country prepares for governorship and state assembly elections in few days to come. The essence is to avoid post-election violence in the country.
We must all be sensitive and circumspect in the things we say, in the things we do, in the things we write, and on the things we show on our screens.
So that as a country, what we are focused on is how we support national integration and national cohesion in all that we do.
The aggrieved parties were also advised to follow the constitutional process in their matter and refrain from acts capable of heating up the polity. The forum also agreed that relevant institutions of government such as the INEC and security agencies must be proactive in their responsibilities to earn public trust, while the agency intensifies advocacy on peaceful coexistence amongst key players. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the National Broadcasting Commission envisages to sanction any broadcaster that exploits the fragile peace of the nation in the name of free press. Director General of the Commission, Balarabe Shehu Ilela, stated this in a crucial meeting with some heads of media outfits in Abuja. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday brings us details.
The meeting with selected heads of broadcast media organizations followed the outcome of monitoring and observations made from the NBC 2023 Election Situation Room. The Director General, Balarabe Shehu Ilela, told the forum that while NBC cherishes the constitutional rights of individuals to exercise their freedom of expression, frowns at negative conversations dangerous to Nigeria's democracy.
Finding the embers of discord, disunity, inciting supporters through conveyance of subversive messages through broadcasting are not traits that can deepen our democratic culture. I'm sure you all know that.
We will never support any station causing problem or violating the codes of NBC.
On the flip side, Balarabe Shehu Ilela said NBC believes in carrot and stick approach.
Particularly in promoting national unity, participatory democracy, promoting political awareness and inculcating spirit of tolerance.
And the media will continue to fight to have a just society. And it's a constitutional obligation imposed on the media that the media shall hold government to account.
Acknowledging the role of the media in serving as public forum, the NBC boss said it should be done with decorum, civility, patriotism, and sense of fairness to parties involved. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
Heading straight to Yobe State now, ahead of Saturday's governorship and state houses of assembly elections, Governor Mai Mala Buni has engaged a number of youth groups as part of votes-seeking drive for his re-election bid. Yunusa Suleiman reports that the engagement, which aims at mainstreaming the youth into the campaign strategy, was held at the Government House, Damaturu.
It was a rewarding engagement between Governor Mai Mala Buni and youth who were former members of an opposition party in Damaturu local government, but recently defected to the governing APC with assurance to support the governor by giving him their votes come Saturday 11th March 2023. Led by Ahmed Mohamed Gombe, the highly spirited youth presented some demands for consideration, among which are youth inclusion in governance, poverty alleviation, and job creation if the governor is re-elected for the second term in office. Governor Mai Mala Buni, who saluted the youth for their courage, also assures to look into their list of demands. He appealed to them to come out and massively vote for APC in the forthcoming governorship and state assembly elections in the state. The governor also received one Abubakar Alhaji Garba, who trekked from Gashua to Damaturu to felicitate with the governor over Tinubu's victory at the just concluded presidential election, as well as reaffirms his solidarity to Buni's 4+4 campaign mantra. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
Also, the Court-Martial Federal Safety Corps is preparing for the elections ahead. The LW wants officers of the Corps to be resilient and maintain highest level of neutrality in the forthcoming governorship and state houses of assembly elections. The Court-Martial was speaking during a review of the Corps' performance at the recently concluded presidential and national assembly elections across the country. Oyeyemi Ajayi reports.
The February 25, 2023 presidential and national assembly elections was a litmus test for not only the election management body, but also security and paramilitary agencies as well. For the Federal Safety Corps, the election was a good outing with commendable performance by men of the Corps, with the display of professionalism, doggedness and neutrality throughout the exercise.
I want to charge you here, the officers and the men, to go out this weekend and also perform credibly well like the last election. To be focused, do your work diligently. Once again, don't take side with any political party, don't work for any political party or for any politician.
The personnel of the Corps now have to go on better in the March 11 governorship and state houses of assembly elections. And the secret, the Corps Marshal says, is to effectively cooperate with other security agencies. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
The commitment of Nigerians to peace building and national unity is as important as the quest for responsive leadership in the country. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, advanced this position when a delegation of the Methodist Church of Nigeria visited his office. Mutare Ikbe reports that the Permanent Secretary General Services Office represented the SGF.
In its 180 years of existence, the Methodist Church of Nigeria now has a prelate of northern extraction for the first time. His Eminence Oliver Ali Abba, prelate of the Methodist Church of Nigeria, is at the presidency with elders of the Christian denomination to sue for peaceful coexistence among Nigerians during and after the general elections.
If we have to be deliberate on what they call attitudinal change, I think the country will live a better life so that we have something to pass on to generations yet unborn.
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, here represented by the Permanent Secretary General Services, Nnamdi Umberi, thanked the Methodist Church for its intercession for the nation and its role in boosting education, moral reorientation, and the hospitality industry in the country.
I'm happy that as a religious body, you not only preach salvation, but you also want to empower people education-wise, and that is quite commendable.
The message here for Nigerians is to sustain active participation in the general election. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Looking at other issues now, President Buhari has congratulated the newly appointed director and head of secretariat of the Intergovernment Group of 24, Dr. Iyabo Marsha. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, President Buhari noted that Dr. Marsha has made history, being the first African to hold the position since the organization was founded in 1971. The President enjoins Dr. Marsha to use her position to champion the cause of developing countries, especially in areas of economic diversification, debt resolution, tax policy, and financial sector development. All right, let's pause in Abuja and let Adiola feed us with more news from Lagos. Adiola, what's the latest?
I have some more on the election. If records on election participation in Nigeria is anything to go by, then the just concluded presidential and National Assembly elections might have again raised concerns on voters' apathy. In this report, Michael Olaleye x-rays the trend in how to stimulate voters' participation in future elections.
There are figures to chronicle Nigerians' participation in voting during election, and behind those figures are a number of issues.
Of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
At the return to democratic rule in 1999, Nigeria recorded an overall voters' turnout of 52.3%, a statistic giving real of hope of better days ahead. It got better at the next phase in 2003, setting a record of 69%. But since then, the number of voters willing to participate in the electoral process tipped off the peak, resulting in an all-time low record of 32.3% in 2019. Even the data compiled by the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance revealed that the turnout was the second lowest in the history of elections held in Africa. In the prelude to the just concluded presidential and National Assembly elections, INEC posted an encouraging PVC's collection of 87.5 million, representing 93.3% from the total number of 93.4 million on the voters list. An impressive figure that raised hope of improved turnout, but at the close of vote counting, records showed that less than 25 million Nigerians participated in the exercise.
Late arrivals of electoral material in some places, so most people, I know one or two people that stayed in queue, and after some time they felt, well, please, they were back in.
Changing the tide in favor of increasing voters' participation in elections, key players say required joint efforts.
A lot more work to be done in voter education, and it should not be left just for INEC. The political parties must carry their fair share of the burden of voter education.
If you make a declaration that yes, go and register, make sure you have the processes that will make the people to have those particular PVCs on time so that they can be eligible to vote.
The path to achieving these, stakeholders say, must be deliberate, concerted, and not attached to electioneering season alone. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NT News.
And away from election matters, despite the availability of fuel in Lagos State, fuel queues can still be observed owing to a number of issues. Larry Benlei went to filling stations to find out why.
Have eased up at the few filling stations in Lagos. Fuel is being dispensed to motorists without hitch. The long queue has reduced considerably. But should there be queues at all at these filling stations?
I think the fuel is available everywhere. So the only reason why you see little queue here is because of the variance in the price. So as I told you earlier, it's 185 naira here. And when you come in, maximum of 3 minutes, you drive in and you buy your food.
Some who are just selling at the price, they have adjusted their pump to the last, so they are gaining more than what they're supposed to gain. That's why you see few queues there.
Another reason the motorists pointed to as the cause of the few queues is the non-availability of cash in circulation.
There are so many physicians, they are not ready to save fuel because of the transaction from ATM to their PS. Some PS are not working because of the network problem. So due to naira design, it's affecting the fuel. That's caused a lot of queue on different filling stations.
The Nigerians always have to look for the ones that have the POS or have the e-transfer, whatever, to be able to get fuel.
Motorists affirmed that it's been a big sigh of relief for them in the city, as accessing petrol no longer requires waking up at odd hours, haggling with black marketers. In Lagos, Larry Bilayi, NTA News.
And that does it from the Center of Excellence. Remember that you can still follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. And we'll have more reports on the news after this time out to stay.
Welcome back. The non-operating joint venture partners of Oil Mining Lease 18 have appointed NNPC 18 Operating Limited as operator of the Oil Mining Lease 18 to replace Ayrton Exploration and Production Limited. This is to curtail further degradation of the asset and revamp production of oil and gas. The change was notified to the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission and communicated to Ayrton. The statement says NNPC Limited, as majority shareholder, has a stewardship responsibility to the Federation and is committed to ensuring the energy and financial security of the country is uppermost in its business decisions. And on naira notes, consumers and business operators in Abuja are uncertain on whether to continue using the old 500 and 1,000 naira notes. The dilemma is as a result of the central bank's delay in issuance of any directive to deposit money banks on the next course of action. Yesterday, Abel confirmed news making the rounds that some banks have started issuing the old naira notes.
Like some people, Melody still has some 1,000 naira notes which had ceased to be legal tender. The Supreme Court's decision to allow the old and redesigned naira notes to continue to coexist until December this year was a welcome development for him. The fact that he is able to spend his old naira notes is good news.
Surprisingly, I brought it out yesterday and I was able to spend 2,000 naira from it yesterday. Today I also spent 1,000 naira, which is remaining 1,000 naira left.
The same enthusiasm is shared by many who received news that banks have started reissuing old naira notes.
I asked some people if they were going to accept it as a legal tender and they refused. So I had to tell them no, I'm not interested until I hear from whatever the president or the CBN governor has to say.
In my opinion, I don't think it's safe. The president has told you to use just the 200 naira notes, and that is what I'm sticking to right now until when he says different.
It's a challenge. Like when I go home, I don't go home directly. I have to source for cash to come to work the next day, and it's not funny.
Bank officials were not available to comment, but a banker who spoke off camera said the directive to begin paying the old notes from their vault was from their management. However, the problem is that taking the old notes from the banks is one thing, but in a case where it is rejected, a customer will be required to fill a form endorsed by the Apex Bank. In Abuja, Bosede Able, NTA News.
Let's have more business news now with Benny Adams as our guide. Benny.
Thank you, Henry, and welcome to Business. At the ongoing World Economic Forum, more than 120 countries are exploring central bank digital currency, CBDCs, with conversations bordering on implementation amid global risks, high inflation, low growth, and high debt economy.
We see the central bank digital currency as part of the solution for unbanked people.
It is possible
to make a direct and immediate cross-border payment between CBDC coins of different countries. In fact, there are two important characteristics here that do not exist in the current system.
The big issues are about public choice. They are about regulation.
And now to the market. Nigerian stocks market could not make a remarkable upward or downward shift on Tuesday as investors failed to increase holdings on sound stocks, as well as sell side of the market was also calm. At the end of the trading, a total of 159.5 million shares in 4,187 deals, corresponding to a market value of 2.4 billion naira, were traded. Compared with the previous trading day, Monday, today's data shows 29% improvement in volume and 3% improvement in deals. The current market capitalization is 30.3 trillion. Transcorp Nigeria recorded the highest volume of 14.4 million traded shares, followed by Zenith Bank and Guarantee Trust, 11.9 million. Well, that is business news, but network news continues after this break.
Let's have a bit of sports now with Olumide Eguntala as our guide. All right, with sports done, weather outlook for Wednesday is next.
Welcome. The northward pull of the intertropical discontinuity and the continuous moisture influx into the country, coupled with available potential energy, leaves the atmosphere very unstable for weather activities. So for Wednesday morning, thunderstorms are expected over parts of Lagos and Ogun states. We also expect overnight weather systems to linger to give prospect of very early morning thunderstorms to parts of Oyo, Kwara, Niger, Kogi, the Federal Capital Territory, and Nasarawa states, while parts of Kebbi, Zamfara, and Sokoto states are expected to have patches of clouds. By afternoon and evening hours, indices shows good prospect of thunderstorms over most parts of the south, the central cities, southern parts of Kaduna and Kebbi states. We equally expect very strong winds that can raise some dust over parts of Adamawa, Gombe, Taraba, and its environs. Up next is the Air Quality Index. I'm Theodora Itum. Thank you for watching.
Many thanks, Theodora, for that heads up as regards the weather outlook for Wednesday. And that concludes NTA Network News tonight. Many thanks for watching. Please remember that the fight against rape and rapists is still on. Do the needful. I'm Ian John. Have a good night.